Ang focolare movement ay may mga geographic areas na tinatawag na mga zones. Halimbawa lang, ang area natin ay tinatawag na Philippine Zone.
Okay. Sa isang zona o zone, may responsible sa mga kababaihan at may responsible sa mga kalalakihan at makakasama natin sila sa ating get-together.
Masaya kami actually ni Noel na makakasama natin ngayon yung ating dalawang responsibles ng focolare sa Philippine Zone. Kaya pinapakilala ko sa inyo ang responsible ng mga kababaihan sa buong Pilipinas, no, sa focolare movement. Siya ay mas popular o mas kilala natin sa pangalan na tinatawag nating NAR. Si NAR actually ay mula sa lalawigan ng Bohol.
Okay. Sa kalalakihan naman, Polarity Movement Philippine Zone, natutuwa akong ipakilala sa inyo si Andrew. Isa siyang pare, pero mas gusto niyang tawaging Andrew. Si Andrew ay taga Malta. Ang Malta ay isang bansa sa Europa na malapit na sa Africa.
Okay, pagkatapos niya, Noel, siguro ngayon, pwede na nating pakinggan sila Nar at Andrew.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Noel and Norma, for introducing us. Mayong hapon sa inyong tanan. Good afternoon, everyone. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So, with Andrew, we would like to share with you some thoughts of Kera Dubik, our founder, the founder of the Polarity Movement, Pope Francis, Maria Voce, the former president of our movement, and of course, the actual president, Margaret Caram, and Jesus Moran, the co-president. And these thoughts, we hope that would help us, especially now that we live in this polarized world. So we thought of sharing with you this reconciliation amidst polarizations. So, yes, we can start. Gio? So in the Focolare movement, we too had to overcome many antis, We are from 186 nations. So you can just imagine, and you think of how many races, languages, cultures, and mentalities we have. So, next. How do we manage to win all these antis? So, Kiara, in one of her talks, she said, in my opinion, the fundamental point was a pact, a kind of pact made by the first Focolarinas, and we called it the Pact of Mercy. That is the Pact of Forgiveness. Of course, we were young, full of faults, and the next day, we were remembering the other person's faults of the day before. So we said, we have to clear up all these thoughts. We need to make this pact of mercy. And the next day, we need to see each other as new, as if we were meeting for the first time. If there had not been this pact of daily forgiveness, the movement would not even have advanced from Trent to another nearby city of Italy. Instead, we succeeded in spreading. So in other words, instead of evil, we tried to put good, and that is to say, to forgive and to forget.
So now my name is Andrew, as it was told. I'm very happy to be with you this afternoon, and I was really looking forward for this moment to have this sharing why we should vote. About 2 years ago, I was still in Italy, serving the movement over there. And in one of the more important moments that I have experienced, there was a meeting for those persons in charge of the mass media and also communications. And at one point, there was a moment of questions and answers with Maria Voce, the one that you see in the picture, and another person that you will see later. His name is Jesus Moran. And also in that moment, there was a little bit of tension because, as you know, Europe is now very much, how can I say, people are traveling from Middle East, traveling from Africa, trying to find jobs in order to help their family. So you can imagine that some forms of nationalism is cropping up, also making it always more and more difficult for migrants to enter and also to be welcomed in this in their own country. So this was the atmosphere when these questions were being raised. So the question was, how can we tackle, how can we handle polarizations? I will explain what is a polarization first of all. A polarization is, I tried to look it up in the dictionary. Polarization is the process that causes neutral parties to take sides and eventually may also come into conflict. It also causes individuals on either side of the conflict to become taking up increasingly extreme positions, and it becomes more and more opposed. So this is the polarization, when you have an opinion and you stick to it, but adamantly. I mean, you don't want to listen to other opinions. This is the polarization. This is the extreme, of course. Instead, what we're going to propose is polarity. What is the meaning of polarity? This is what I found in a very good dictionary. Polarity is the state of having or expressing two directly opposite tendencies. You are a kind of in between, that energy that flows between the 2 points. So now I'll come to what Maria Voce said and also Jesus. Maria Voce says, this morning before coming here for this meeting, of course, 2 words came to my mind as I thought of you: truth and charity. I was thinking of Jesus, who says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Our life is actually charity. Always be very sincere, even in building relationships, in speaking to one another. The utmost truth, but with the utmost charity. So one cannot be offensive. One has to welcome the other in his being different. Then Jesus took the floor and he expressed himself this way. Persons in charge of the mass media and communication are often confronted with polarization of ideas. I would like to emphasize, polarization is not thought with uniformity. It's not that we have to all to think in the same way, but with polarity. And this is where the Holy Spirit comes in. That is, not by eliminating uncomfortable positions, but by maintaining them in balance. Thinking that no one can have the right idea in anything, and that we should be specialists in discovering the part of truth that the other has. This means polarity, because polarization is actually the degeneration of polarity. Uniformity is not polarity, but neither is total dispersion where everyone keeps their own idea. We need to arrive at polarity. Behind this difficulty that we are experiencing with polarization on various issues, there is clearly a very strong deficit of the Holy Spirit. That is, the Holy Spirit is lacking, and of love for the forsaken and crucified Jesus, who is the source of the Holy Spirit. There is a serious deficit, and therefore, of our spirituality of unity. Because someone who is not able to live in polarity shows a major deficit of the Holy Spirit. So the question is this: what does it mean to live in polarity? And Jesus lists 4 points, which are, in my opinion, are really very important. One needs to, first of all, lose his or her own point of view. This is practically very difficult, but we need to lose our point of view. 2, be aware that he or she does not possess the truth, I mean the full truth, about the various things. 3, listen deeply to one another, to the other person, who certainly has his or her own reasons to think in a way or the other. 4th, do all that is possible to overcome conflict. I just repeated very quickly, no? So lose one's own idea, not pretend to possess the truth, listen deeply, overcome conflict, the desire to conflict. Pope Francis confirms this in the principles stated in his apostolic exhortation, Evangelii Gaudium. He says, unity is superior to conflict. But reality is also superior to the idea, because sometimes we have unconscious ideologies within. So our spirituality has to purify our ideologies in us, because in the end, we may suddenly discover ourselves as, in that case, as nationalists. We can say of one party or the other. How come? Without realizing it, I discovered that I cannot agree with someone who has another idea. This means that in some way, this particular culture has entered into me, and that the spirituality of unity has not transformed it yet. Our spirituality of unity is the opposite of any ideology. We never close down into a group, into a certain ideology, a strong thought. No. It brings us to reality, to see things and therefore to relativize our own point of view. We don't possess the whole truth. We only possess partial truths, any one of us. Only Jesus has the full truth. Reality is superior to the idea, says Pope Francis. We would say the spirituality of unity is superior to the ideologies. This is the work we need to do, and it is very important that we do it seriously. Then Emmaus concluded this point, this answer in this way. Of course, the more we mature, the more we go ahead, the more we realize how little we have lived and understood our spirituality. However, this does not frighten us. It shows that we still have a lot to do in us and around us. Just so that the spirituality of unity becomes concrete life in the present, in what we do, in what we are, in what we live. We can see that God is taking us forward. He is working us in this direction. He is making us grind a little, thank God. So it's always a chance to mature little by little.
And so, Margaret Karang, also during a meeting on November 6, 2021, Together for Europe. This Together for Europe was an initiative that is launched here among ecclesial movements and communities to make this pact together, a pact of reciprocal love and commitment to work together for the good of Europe. And so she said this one, we know that we have come a long way. So my special appreciation goes first of all to those who have been working for years in the Together for Europe network for their courage to enter open spaces not yet explored but which leads to knowing the other's point of view. We know that this is not an easy way to do, but it allows one to purify and enrich one's own vision of things and guarantees a sincere and continuous confrontation in order to find a direction, even in the insecurity and often in the midst of the times we live in. And so she was trying to recall, that in 2007, in the speech of Chiara in Stuttgart, Germany, she quoted what Chiara said: Jesus, who is the light for the world, values what is true in the different points of view and enlightens, highlights the common good, and gives strength to pursue it. And this sentence would be enough to understand what the solution to polarization is. Then we are called to act in favor of universal brotherhood. So during the first meeting in Stuttgart among Christian movements and Christian communities, it was in 2004 when the Together for Europe was launched. Chiara again made an appeal, and this is also very relevant today. And she said, the one who proclaimed universal brotherhood and gave us the way to realize it was Jesus. He, by revealing to us the fatherhood of God, broke down the walls that separate the equal from the different, the friends from the enemies. Jesus freed each person from 1,000 forms of subordination and slavery, from every unjust relationship, thus bringing about an authentic existential, cultural, and political revolution. And she continued, encouraging us, all of us, even today. This love, which reaches its perfection in reciprocity, expresses the power of Christianity because it attracts to this earth the very presence of Jesus among us men and women. Then we would like to conclude this part, the sharing of ours, with these words of Chiara when she was talking to a group of politicians in the zone of Naples on May 2, 1996. And I quote, "Now we must really take advantage of our collective spirituality in order to start, first of all, among ourselves, even if we work here or there, in this party or another party, we must take advantage of it to be that we will be of one heart and one soul. We must remember that we are first of all Christians. We are Christians, and then members of a political party. And as we live our spirituality of unity, which is a type of Christianity, first, we are Focolarinos, we are volunteers, we are young people, we are all those who adhere to this spirituality, and then members of the party. So we will ask ourselves, but why? Why do we need this unity among all? Above all, we have to remember that we need to save values because they are not guaranteed today, neither by one side nor by the other. So, since the best values are rooted in Christianity and they could be threatened like justice, peace, freedom, life, ecology, unity, we must be united in order to save these values. And we want to appeal and to encourage each one of you, all of us together, that we work to save all these values. Thank you very much for listening.
Salamat, Nar, Andrew. Okay. Norma, ano masasabi mo sa talk nila?
Alam mo, Noel, it was a very nice talk. And I think even if we are just at the beginning of the first series of our sessions in Bakit Ka Boboto, they already have given us a tip. For example, if I just have to make one sentence, in order to live polarity, we should be of one heart and one soul. This is what I really got from that. I mean, very briefly, this is what I got from them. Ikaw naman, Noel, anong nagustuhan mo sa sinabi nila?
Nahuli nila yung sitwasyon natin dito sa Pilipinas na polarized talaga tayo, di ba? Dahil magbukas ka ng TV, kung ano ng balita, fake news man o hindi, basta polarized tayo, nasa state tayo of polarization. Ngayon, kaya kailangan natin ng polarity. Ngayon, iniisip ko kanina, ngayon lang naman natin narinig to, di ba? Pero, binalikan ko yung ground rules natin. Mukhang swak na swak dun sa talk nila kasi sabi natin, respect each other. Diba? Sa respect each other, we listen. Pangalawa, keep an open mind. Di ba yun din yung idea ng polarity? Saka yung third, hindi naman sinasabi ni Jesus Moran, hindi naman ibig sabihin na eliminate polarity o balance polarity. Ibig sabihin, hindi naman ibig sabihin nun, tumahimik ka lang. So speak up. So mukhang yung ground rules natin, angkop na angkop dun sa talk nila. Yun.
Okay, maraming salamat muli, Noel, and especially to Andrew and Nar for that very beautiful talk. It really sets the tone for all of us today.